Well, well, well. Baby, Daddy Dumpy Pants is doubling down on dumb today. Yes, Dozin' Don apparently needs a longer nap, baby. Yeah, a dirt nap. But anyway, he's come out to say that he plans on withholding SNAP benefits from blue states. Okay, go ahead and pull that shade. We see how that worked out for y'all during the shutdown, honey.
And wouldn't you know, right on cue, they want something else. They want personal data, information of immigrants that are living in Democratic-led states. And because these states say they're not going to give out personal information of people who live there, because it is these people's rights to have that data protected from the federal government, the malignant narcissists went back to the one thing they knew was a point of leverage, a negotiation tactic, a cruel punishment that they could dish out in order to get what they want.
Let's talk about the ultimate con job. You know the type, screams welfare queen at brunch, then quietly renews their EBT card every month, votes Trump to drain the swamp, while standing neck deep in the swamp's food line. Now Trump's decided blue states don't deserve food unless they hand over private data, including immigration status, so he can go full ICE cosplay. And surprise, millions of his own voters live in those blue states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, where red hats outnumber blue policies, but the grocery bills are still real. So today, we're watching MAGA loyalists realize their hero doesn't care if their kids eat, as long as he gets to play dictator. Grab your last can of beans. This one stings.
The Trump administration says it will cut off SNAP funding in most Democratic-led states next week unless they hand over data on aid recipients, including immigration status. Critics argue the request violates federal law and risks exposure of private information, but the Agriculture Secretary says it is needed to root out fraud.
Okay, let's unpack this welfare fraud fairy tale. Trump's team claims they found 186,000 dead people on SNAP. Sounds scary. Until you learn SNAP fraud is 1.3%, lower than credit card fraud, 3.5%, or defense contractor overbilling, which Trump ignores. But sure, punish single moms in Detroit because a few Social Security numbers weren't auto-flagged after someone passed. Economically, this isn't about saving money. It's about weaponizing hunger to force blue states into surrendering civil liberties. And guess who suffers? Not Trump, not Musk. Your cousin in rural Ohio who voted red but shops at a blue state Walmart. Classic grift, scream fraud to justify cruelty, while ignoring the real waste, $2.3 trillion in GOP tax cuts for billionaires.
So, as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer.
Millions of Americans could lose access to food assistance as the Trump administration targets Democratic-led states in a controversial new move after requests for names and immigration status of recipients are being denied. Let's bring in Susan Hirasuna with more on today's developments. Susan?
Well, the state of California is just one of 22 total that sued the Trump administration for the threat of cutting off SNAP benefits. Despite that, the Agriculture Secretary today announced time's up. If those Democrat-run states do not provide the information about the aid recipients, the funding will be cut off next week. During a cabinet meeting today, President Trump listened without comment to Secretary Brooke Rollins. She claimed that 29 states had provided the information demanded, including names and immigration status. 21, including California, believe the order is illegal, and the government does not have the legal authority to demand the specific data or threaten funding. Secretary Rollins claims the data from the Republican-led states resulted in weeding out fraud.
When we found 186,000 dead people or dead people's Social Security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states.
Local political strategist Luis Alvarado believes there's another reason behind the power move by the Trump administration. He points to the president's sinking approval ratings.
The Democrats are hiding the fraudulent immigrants who are taking away from the national resources is an argument that makes him look better in the red states. But second, he's openly said that he's going to come after Democrats or anybody who opposes him in any of these policies.
A spokesperson from Governor Newsom's office expressed skepticism that the funding will actually disappear. She went on to say in a statement that cutting funding that feeds American children is morally repugnant. There is data out there about California's SNAP or CalFresh recipients. More than 5 million Californians depend on SNAP for food, and more than half of the recipients are lower-income Latino households.
And so we're talking just Democratic states.
According to the Agriculture Secretary, it's mostly Democratic states. I think there was at least one or two that did agree. So if you do the math, if it's 29 states, I don't know how many of those specifically are Republican. But yeah, mostly Democratic states.
All right, big issue that affects a lot of people.
Well, well, well. Baby, Daddy Dumpy Pants is doubling down on dumb today. Yes, Dozing Don apparently needs a longer nap, baby. Yeah, a dirt nap. But anyway, he's come out to say that he plans on withholding SNAP benefits from blue states. Okay, go ahead and pull that shit today. We see how that worked out for y'all during the shutdown, honey.
I told you so in 2018, 2020, and last Tuesday. Trump tried this exact tactic during the 2018 shutdown. Result? Virginia flipped blue. North Carolina got purple. Even Texas suburbs revolted. Why? Because working-class voters, even MAGA ones, don't like being used as political hostages. Economically, SNAP isn't handouts, it's economic stimulus. Every $1 in SNAP generates $1.50 in local spending. Grocers, truckers, dairy farms all suffer when benefits vanish. But Trump doesn't care about job creators unless they're yacht owners. So yeah, cut food for kids. Bet that plays great in Scranton.
How did it work out for y'all withholding SNAP benefits during the government shutdown, even though never in our history have we withheld SNAP benefits because of a government shutdown? How did it work out at the polls for you, that play to withhold SNAP benefits? Boo. How did it work out for you in North Carolina? How did it work out for you in Virginia? How did it work out for you in New York? It didn't work out very well, honey, is what I'm saying. So you're doubling down on dumb today. But let's break down this a little bit so I can explain to you what exactly is going on. Firstly, Daddy apparently is confused, and he thinks that people that vote for him only live in red states. That's not true. A whole lot of them live in blue states, boo. Especially blue states in the Midwest area. Got a whole lot of red hats on SNAP benefits there, and he wants to keep those from you. Because, honey, and this is why, this is the story I reported on that was going on during March through May, where the current administration had issued a letter to states all across the U.S. of A. demanding, not the federal government, the administration did, demanding that they release private information about SNAP recipients going all the way back to the flupocalypse in 2020. Now, each state submits information to the federal government without submitting information about who is on SNAP benefits, how many people are on SNAP benefits, how large their household is. The federal government can't decide without those estimations of that information how much federal funding to send to your state for SNAP benefits. So the federal government already has access to all the data that they need in order to supply you with SNAP benefits, boo. They don't need any more information on you. They already have that, okay? They already have the information they need that would let them know about fraud, waste, and abuse, too. The information that is submitted from your state to the federal government over SNAP benefits would let them know if there was fraud, waste, and abuse. But what the current administration wants is records that go all the way back to the flupocalypse in 2020, when we were handing out emergency benefits. This is important that you understand this. In 2020, across America, millions of people who had never, ever received SNAP benefits started receiving SNAP benefits because we were in a flupocalypse, dear. We were in a state of emergency. Remember, people couldn't go to work. People were receiving unemployment benefits that never before had received unemployment benefits. The Biden administration was trying to keep our economy and all of us afloat. So we were helping people out, baby, for the first time in their life. And it's very simple to see that after the flupocalypse, millions of Americans came off of those benefits automatically, dear. There was an expiration date on those. So they no longer receive those. And then a whole lot of people they didn't receive them anymore because the emergency was over, and then a whole lot of people just let them go even if they qualified for them because they felt like they just didn't need them anymore. It was the first time they'd ever gotten them and they didn't need them anymore. And also because it was an emergency, you had families that normally wouldn't qualify. You see what I'm saying? Families that normally wouldn't qualify for this program because of whatever their immigration status might be. Because unlike what the GOP wants to tell you, no, we don't give food and housing benefits to illegals and undocumented immigrants. But during the flu-pocalypse, some we did because we were in a crisis here. And once that was over, they no longer received those benefits. So by requesting those records of private information of addresses, names, workplaces, and all of that of people on those benefits in 2020 is a direct way to illegally come after people today. And so that's why some states said, no, we're not handing over to you this information because, first off, it violates federal privacy laws. It would literally be breaking the law for them to hand over this information to the administration. Because like I said, the federal government itself already has all the information it needs. We don't need to see who was receiving benefits in 2020 to find out if fraud, waste, and abuse was going down. You only need to know who's receiving benefits today to find out if there's fraud, waste, and abuse. And, well, the federal government has access to that information to you. That's just how it is. So, no, blue states ain't going to play with him, and they're not going to bend the knee, and they're not going to be threatened by Orange Daddy. And if they continue to do this and withhold SNAP benefits, it's going to work out really well for the blue team.
We've seen this coming since 2016. MAGA voters keep acting shocked when Trump sacrifices them for culture war points. Like, bro, you live in Michigan, your governor's blue, your SNAP comes through a blue system, but you thought Trump would magically spare your benefits while starving libs? Here's the econ truth. 72% of SNAP households include a working adult. These aren't lazy freeloaders. They're Walmart cashiers, farmhands, Uber drivers. Many voted for Trump. Now he's saying, starve unless your state betrays its citizens. And you're still defending him? At this point, loyalty isn't virtue. It's self-sabotage with a red hat.
Yeah. Because all those people in those blue states who swing a little bit red will start to look purple as hell on Election Day. That's what happened, didn't it? In Virginia, North Carolina, New Jersey, New York. I mean, baby, just everywhere. That's what happened, honey. So keep up with your doubling down on dumb today. And we'll rise to the top, okay? An idiot, baby. Threatening to take people's food away. Y'all didn't learn yet. And it wasn't like a long time ago. We're talking a month ago, honey. You didn't learn the lesson from a fucking month ago? Maybe you need to take a longer nap today. The GOP ain't okay, honey. No.
When a malignant narcissist finds a point of leverage that they can use against somebody, they will continue to push that button until it doesn't work anymore. When the government was shut down, Democrats stepped up in order to protect the healthcare subsidies. The point of leverage that this administration decided to use, this administration that is full of malignant narcissists, was removing SNAP benefits. We're going to starve people. We're going to force you to decide between protecting health care for these people for years to come or helping them eat in the middle of winter. So when people got upset about the 8 Democrats that decided to vote along with Republicans to reopen the government after not getting any meaningful concessions, this is why. Because this regime did not learn any lessons from the fact that this government reopened, all right? What they learned was we can use this point of leverage to get what we want. And wouldn't you know, right on cue, they want something else. They want personal data, information of immigrants that are living in Democratic-led states. And because these states say they're not going to give out personal information of people who live there because it is these people's rights to have that data protected from the federal government, the malignant narcissists went back to the one thing they knew was a point of leverage, a negotiation tactic, a cruel punishment that they could dish out in order to get what they want. By the way, Republicans in Congress refuse to talk about healthcare subsidies also, just as a side note. But this is highlighting the main issue that people are having. People are having with Democrats, people are having with anybody capitulating to this White House. They are not operating in a business as usual mindset. They are operating from the point of, we will take advantage of whoever we can. We will abuse whatever levers of power are afforded to us. And we will continue to bully anybody who allows us to bully them. This is why we are asking our legislative branch to step up. Because if Congress will not step up, I promise you the people will. Time is running out for y'all to do something.
Here's the latest update on SNAP benefits. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. The Trump administration is now threatening to suspend SNAP benefits for people who live in Democratic states. And that is because the Democratic states are refusing to turn over personal sensitive information to the Trump administration and to DOJ. This could affect up to 20 million people. And remember, the primary beneficiaries of SNAP benefits, 67% of the people, are elderly, children, and the disabled. 2023 study of the Department of Agriculture and the SNAP benefits program showed that the majority of people, the vast majority of people who receive these benefits, are doing so legally. This latest threat to cut off SNAP benefits cruel or justified? What do you think? This is likely another issue that's going to make its way to the Supreme Court, but if you're in a blue state, are you comfortable with the government having your personal information? Do we know what the government is going to do with this information? DOJ is one of the agencies that is seeking this information. Does that give you pause? Does that give you concern?
The Trump administration says it will cut off SNAP funding in most Democratic-led states next week unless they hand over data on aid recipients, including immigration status.
One side would feed 100 people to make sure that one did not go hungry. The other side would withhold food from 100 people just in case there was one that they thought didn't deserve.
Trump is now blocking food stamp funds from blue states. Y'all want me to think that he cares about children. He cares about Americans, but he's okay with people dying because they live in a blue state. Because mind you, people are going to die if they do not have food. For the stupid Republican, well, that's all of y'all. So for the Republicans, I want y'all to understand there are Republicans that live in those blue states. So this is not the own that you think it is, because Republicans are going to be affected. Little white friends are going to be affected because yes, the dumb Republicans. I need y'all to understand that white people use food stamps more than any other race in America.
Okay, real talk. They can't actually cut SNAP benefits. A federal judge already ruled the data demand illegal. States run SNAP. They submit aggregate stats, not names or SSNs. The feds already get all they need to detect fraud. So this is bluster. Trump's hoping blue state governors cave to fear, or that hungry voters blame them, not him. But here's the kicker. If admin funds get cut, states can't process applications or renewals. Benefits delay, chaos ensues, and Trump yells, "See, blue states are incompetent." It's a cruel confidence trick, and MAGA voters are both the marks and the props.
As much as you try to paint the picture of who uses food stamps, babe, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. It's your cousin, which might also be your boyfriend. So just look real close. That's who's using food stamps. That's who's going to be affected. The Trump administration is not going to give funds to these blue states if they do not give recipient info to the federal government. It's just wild to me because this is the party that says they're Christians. I don't think Jesus would be in support of your party, my love.
Look at that. The Trump administration is not done threatening to starve the American people. They're literally coming for round two. They have come out today and said that they are going to withhold SNAP payments from Democrat-led states if they don't get the data they want from those states. And I'm just going to say that another way in case you don't understand. The Trump administration wants something from Democratic states that they don't want to give them, and so the Trump administration is threatening to starve children, veterans, the elderly, and people with disabilities. Take that in. So what's the information they're willing to make kids hungry to get? According to Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, it is things like the names and immigration status of aid recipients. After all, they've got a 3,000 arrest a day quota they have to hit. They are willing to withhold food aid from God knows how many tens of millions of people because they're having an immigration disagreement with Democratic governors. How cruel can you be? Now, of course, Brooke Rollins is not saying that they want this information for ICE raids. They're saying it's to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, a familiar refrain. Her office is claiming that 186,000 deceased people are receiving SNAP benefits, but of course, big surprise, her office has not released detailed data proving her claim. So under those circumstances, you can understand why Democratic governors are saying hell no. In fact, 22 Democrat-led states and the District of Columbia have sued over this request for information, and a judge has sided with them, saying the administration can't have this information. So what is Trump doing? He's extorting them. He's threatening to withhold food from the neediest people in the country if he doesn't get what he wants, while meanwhile continuing to prioritize his gilded ballroom and bailing out foreign leaders. I don't even know what to say, you guys. It's like a big game to Trump. The level of sadism required to say, I will not send money for food to these states if they don't do what I want, is so next level. Actual people will lose sleep over this. Actual people will go hungry. Children, this is not the way government is supposed to work. This is not okay. This is not Christian. And this is not a negotiation. It is hostage taking. And if you're disgusted by it like I am, help us fight.
So the President of the United States is now torturing children, veterans, and the disabled just for sport. He's decided that if you live in a blue state and your governor doesn't comply with his ridiculous requests, he's going to cut off your SNAP benefits. And he doesn't care if you are a child who has no control over who your parents are or where you live. He's going to cut off your SNAP benefits. He wants governors to give him information he has no reason to have. He wants confidential information regarding their name, social security, their birth date, and their immigration status. This is the same administration that reversed a policy that required people who claim they own a U.S. business to prove they are the owner of that business and not a foreign entity. And they said, nope, sorry, that's overreach. We don't care if it's actually somebody in another country who's benefiting from tax benefits in the U.S. But if you want to starve children, we're on board for that.
Will SNAP benefits be withheld in Democrat-led states as of next week? Well, according to the Trump administration, they're threatening to do that. I'm going to go through the facts with you so that you understand exactly what's going on and exactly what technically they can do legally.
Hold up. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin? Those aren't deep blue states. They're battlegrounds filled with Trump voters who depend on SNAP. In PA alone, 1.8 million people use food stamps, including dairy farmers, coal miners, and retired steelworkers. Economically, cutting SNAP in these states hurts Trump's base more than Biden's. Rural grocery stores shut. Local farms lose buyers. Schools lose meal reimbursements. But Trump doesn't care. He'd rather burn the whole system down than lose a Twitter fight. And MAGA loyalists still out here like, but he's tough on immigrants, while their own fridge stays empty. Priorities.
Do you remember back in February when the Trump administration required that all states provide the federal government with highly sensitive information that isn't normally shared with the federal government because states run the SNAP programs? And then there were 22 Democrat-led states and D.C. who fought this. They sued the federal government over this. They won in a San Francisco federal court. That has not changed since. That decision, that ruling has not changed since. The Trump administration has been barred from requiring states to provide this information. Now, so you know, states provide statistical information monthly to both state and federal agencies. The federal government already has all of this information that they need. Nonetheless, at the cabinet meeting this week, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins is sharing with everyone at the table, obviously Trump and the entire cabinet is there, that these states are still refusing to comply with the Trump administration's request and will not provide all of this highly sensitive data, yada, yada, yada. Despite the fact that they're barred from doing that. The federal government is barred from asking. There has been no change in that court ruling. And moments after Brooke Rollins shared this information, and the Trump administration said they're going to withhold SNAP benefits as early as next week if these Democrat-led states don't comply. Moments after that, the USDA spokesperson said that they're not even targeting SNAP beneficiaries or the benefits that people receive. They're targeting the administrative funds. So, it's very confusing when you have a cabinet meeting and you have people from different areas of the government providing different pieces of information. Regardless, the Trump administration said if Democrat-led states don't comply by December 8th and provide the federal government all of the information about SNAP recipients that they have requested, despite being barred from asking, December 8th, administrative funds will be withheld. It's not the SNAP benefits that will be withheld, but it is the administrative funds that will be held. So it's still a little unclear how that is going to affect SNAP recipients. But yet again, they are not supposed to do this legally. It's unreal. I will keep you updated on this for sure. But talk about making America great again and being there for American people. This is incredible. I will keep you updated for sure. Please like, follow, and share so that I can continue to provide you with content. And I really appreciate you being here.
So there it is. Trump's America First policy. Turns out it means America, except if you live in a state that won't kneel. He'll cut your food, risk your kids' health, weaponize your hunger, all to feed his ego. And MAGA loyalists still out here defending him, while their EBT balances drop to zero. If you're in a blue state, stay strong. If you're watching this from a red state and realizing you're next, wake up. Because democracy isn't a loyalty program, and neither is dinner. Smash like if you believe food is a right, not a bargaining chip. Subscribe to stay ahead of the next grift. And in the comments, what policy will MAGA regret next? Stay angry, stay fed, and vote like your fridge depends on it, because it does.